And what we wanted to know was how many people were struggling with symptoms related to that, and then how many had adjusted their technology to help improve their ability to do something. So the combined line, so if we just take the top line, we were talking about a cognitive challenge at the top. So we have 48% of people with MS reporting a cognitive problem there. And what you're seeing is only 12% have realized and put in a piece of technology assistance that helps them with that problem. So all the blue on that is opportunity where technology can be easier for people. That's really the takeaway from this slide. What we learned was there's a lot of great tools out there for helping make technology work for you, for making it customized, but people don't know about it, and so they haven't taken advantage of it. So we knew something now. We'd done our homework, so we could sort of have a roadmap. So at the beginning you saw the question mark. We now sort of had a roadmap of how we go forward. So we began to build our strategy. And it really has three key elements. It's about getting people great information. It's about keeping them connected to other people with MS and experts about MS. And it's about customizing the experience so they get exactly what they want. What I want to see on the website, I will get. So here we are in the information. So things that we've embarked on in the last year. Webcasts, podcasts, expert advice, site partnerships. So let me talk a little bit about those. We have now done a series of live webcasts for people in their 20s and 30s dealing with MS. And why? Is because we actually found out that hundreds of people would come together at a single time where they could connect in and ask their questions as a group about a really common topic. So they are talking about things of being young and how do I date? Do I tell somebody I have MS on my first date, the third date? Do I not tell them at all? What am I doing to keep well? How do I do a career plan when you're young and you have MS? So we brought people together, some expert people, some experts in categories, and people with MS can tell their stories, and then people connect online to do this. So we've generally had about 700 participants from 30 states in the U.S. do these. And then they all get posted to websites so people can listen later. But there's this sense of community coming together because it's a real time and everyone's all together. Expert advice. We embarked on a project where we will be launching around 80 3 to 5 minute video clips on our site. And those are expert questions that people have. So things you heard earlier of, what's that MRI thing anyhow, and how important is it? And how often should I get an MRI or ask my neurologist about that? You will get a short video answer from an expert. And so it's all topically arranged. So if you want to know something about fatigue, or you want to know about spasticity, you can look and see if your question has already been asked. If the answer's on video, watch that short video clip as an answer. And if it hasn't been asked, you can submit your question. And you will get either a response via video on the site, or you get a response via email. Podcasts. People want breaking news. So one of the things that we did during the World Stem Cell Summit in San Francisco is we interviewed every day a different stem cell researcher, cut that into an audio clip that was about 5 to 7 minutes long, and put it up that same exact day. Because we thought people with MS should be getting the information in the same exact time that experts around the world were. So what was being said, you could hear it the same day as the scientific conference about the leading presentations made there. And we did a similar work around our pediatric MS summit that we just had in the United States. We use people with MS as the hosts of those. So they're doing the interviewing because they're asking questions from the perspective of somebody with MS who wants those answered for that. And to date, we've had over 30,000 downloads of those. Site partnerships. What do we mean by this? Well, we saw earlier were how many people were going to a lot of other sites for MS information. And we've been concerned that there's a lot of bad information out there. A lot of stuff that is garbage isn't true, it's unreliable, it hasn't been tested, and there's also some really great information out there. But how are people supposed to sort through that and know what's the good and what's not so good? So we formed a partnership with a company called Healthology. Now they are owned by General Electric, which actually has MSN and NBC News, iVillage, and what they do is they develop content, web content for all those sites. And then they sell that and distribute it to all those sites and hundreds of other health sites and news sites. And we formed a partnership to actually build the information and co-brand it so that no matter where people went seeking for MS information, they would see the National MS Society had already reviewed that content and then could link right back to us. So what that results in is about 500 million impressions of the Society online for us and for people to connect back to us. We formed a partnership with WebMD, and then we're doing some professional training with them jointly on their site that's branded out. And then Clear Channel is a media company that has 700 radio stations, 40 television stations, and is the largest producer of billboards in the world. They post the most billboards in the world. And they have formed a partnership with us to do information, awareness, and connection on all of their websites. So all of theirs have live web banners that run through 3 different times a year that then people can see that and connect back to our site for other information. So that's a little bit about how people get information. How do we let them stay connected with one another? So I'm going to talk about 4 different things. FaceOfMS.org, a site we have, JoinTheMovement.org, another site we built, our relationships to some other sites, and then something that we're doing with Microsoft around instant messaging. So this is FaceOfMS.org, and I realize this is a little bit hard to see, but you can see it's sort of the image of a face, and it's made up of tiles, and each tile is somebody with MS. And you can click on those tiles, and you will hear their story, and they've been submitted from all over the world. And so some of them are written, and some of them are videos that people have uploaded. So you can go on and you can see people from across the United States, but actually now from around the world, and they get a chance to tell their story. And so if you've not been to that site, I suggest you go and take a look. It's really great. You can see how different people have faced MS with humor, with determination, their struggles, their challenges, their successes, but it's really just their story. And this was a place to allow people to do that. This is an interactive site we have. We launched a new logo. So the MS, you've seen our logo in the past, used to look very different. And now we've asked people to make their mark against MS. And this is an interactive wall on jointhemovement.org. And again, we have thousands of people who come up, and you take your mouse and you can draw all over this wall and make your mark. So you can say what you think about MS, how you're going to mark it out. And then you can click on those. It will show you how it was made, and then it shows the person's name who made the mark. And so it's a way for people to own this cause themselves and have some fun at the same time. And you can email that mark to other people and encourage them. It's just a way to get people engaged, to make their stand against MS. We actually have partnerships and websites on all of these. So on myspace.com, on Facebook, on YouTube, you will find pages up in those for the National MS Society where we have our friends posted, we put information up there, and they're active sites for us. Our fundraising events, information on MS, we have support groups that work on those spaces. And then we've done an event in Second Life, and we'll be doing a second event later this year. We'll more about that, so I'm not going to talk about that. MTV, those who are familiar with real life on MTV, they have a new channel called MTV UN University. And they do the same thing where they bring a group of college students together and they sort of watch them in their lives. And in this season we'll have somebody who has MS going to college. And you'll just get a glimpse into at least their experience of living with MS on that. And again, there will be references to contact and connect back to the National MS Society for more information.